People. Say, people. Kia ora, hello, we are
A Couple of Kiwis.
Welcome to MIQ, Managed Isolation and Quarantine here in New Zealand. If you didn't know, I'm assuming you do, that's where you click this video, but if you didn't know, if you're coming to New Zealand anytime soon, you have to do 14 days quarantine in a managed facility like this one. We are day 12 here at the Novotel in Christchurch, one of the quarantine facilities, and we're going to take you on a little sort of background of the last 12 days and what you can expect while you're in quarantine in New Zealand, and whether it's something you actually want to do or not, because it is quite tough. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay, so some of you may be wondering what the process is like in order to book a managed isolation spot. It's not like you can just jump on a plane and arrive in New Zealand. So prior to our trip, we had to go through a few things. So we jumped onto the managed isolation website, which is a New Zealand website, to check for the availability to line up with our flights. So once we had booked a spot in isolation through the website, we were able then to link our flights to the booking and then secure our place for our arrival. Alongside having that booking, there was a few things that we needed to do to prepare for our flight. One was a COVID test, which had to be done 72 hours before our departure.
COVID test done. I don't think it ever gets any easier.
I only got one side, you got two.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's just a step towards getting home.
We also had to print our voucher that was given from the MIQ, so upon check-in we could verify that we had actually had a spot before we landed in New Zealand.
Alright, the flight to Auckland International Airport went smoothly. There was only 74 people on our flight, so much room, there was a row in between each bubble or person. On arrival, once we landed, we were told we were going to Christchurch for our quarantine. You have no say over where you go. There's Wellington, Hamilton, Rotorua, Auckland and Christchurch, and we are here in Christchurch. Once we were processed through Auckland International Airport, we sat waiting in a lounge for about an hour until we boarded the flight to Christchurch. That was just with the bubble of people that we had flown with initially. Once we came to Christchurch, we landed and things ramped up. The army was involved and there was a lot more security, so you get processed at an airport like you usually do, but everything else from there on was very different to a usual landing. So we were spaced out 2 meters away. We were sort of herded through various areas of the airport to the point where we stood outside and our gear was loaded onto a bus, and then we jumped on a bus that took us about
2 minutes.
2 minutes to our hotel, which we could see from where we landed. Seems ridiculous, but the space between where we got on the bus and the hotel is public area, so they can't have people walking through that. So that's why we got on the bus, driven around to the front, where we then again were all processed, given not a COVID test straight away. We were temperature checked, our bags taken up to our room, and then boom, we were banished in our room for the next
3 days.
3 days. You cannot leave. So the room that you see we are sitting in right now, we were in here for 3 days, cannot leave until we had a COVID test done and the result came back negative, which for us, it did.
We have some news.
Why am I still wearing this? Yes!
Blue band gang! Blue band gang!
So, this represents that our initial COVID test came back negative, the one we do on arrival. So this allows us to have outside time during the 14 days.
So, we thought this is the right time to give you a little bit of a room tour. It is day 12, so please excuse the mess. We don't have any cleaning facilities that come in to do anything, so we've got to kind of manage it ourselves, starting with the rubbish. This does get collected every day, so we do get a good supply of rubbish bags. I like to do this when we go into hotels, just kind of unpack, get everything sorted in the wardrobes. just so it makes it feel like a little bit more about home. We had quite a roomy bathroom, standard toilet, you don't need to see that really, and shower, but they give you your shower gels, your soaps, they don't give you toothpaste, so you need to bring your toothpaste, and they don't give you any other toiletries, so make sure you bring those. We do get some standard spray and wipes and some dishcloths, but I do recommend for anyone coming, if you want to do your own dishes, then you can get some little dishwashing powder or some plates or something like that. We are provided with wine glasses, coffee, tea and water. We also have a little mini fridge, and we're quite lucky enough that we can order in to stock that mini fridge also. We were very lucky with the size of our room. Look at all the room for activities. We actually split the beds to the side. They were more centre, but we thought this would give us more room. So we've got 2 standard double beds. We've got a place to sit where Matt mostly does his editing, and a nice spin bike that we were able to hire from the hotel. This was around $200 for the 2 weeks, so depending how much exercise means to you, it could be an option for those that are wanting to stay active. So some of the facilities that we'd like to mention is, one is unlimited Wi-Fi, and I think that's really important, especially for people that are bound to their rooms the whole time. So we've been making use of the Netflix. Matt actually brought his PlayStation over, but also iPads, all that kind of stuff. You can only connect 3 devices, so you've got to navigate how to do that. We've got a phone. We've also got access to laundry facilities, so we have available to us 2 loads of laundry, so whether we space that out over the 2 weeks, they will wash and dry those for us and deliver it back to us. We also have access to an unlimited range of coffee or tea, but also the ability to change our sheets or towels whenever we want to also.
We've just had our sheets washed, so it's time to make the beds again.
Do you know how to make a bed, Matthew?
No. That's real mean, eh?
Pillow fight?
Ah!
Oh no, wrong way. The wellbeing team will ring us every day just to check in, see what we need, see if everything's a-okay. And we can't compliment this Novotel Christchurch Airport any further, so they've been absolutely amazing.
Now every day the nursing team will come round and they will take your temperature. On the 3rd day, the 7th day and the 12th day they do COVID tests. So each morning there'll be a knock at the door and their health team will be there either doing the temperature checks or the COVID tests, so you need to be prepared for those, and then the results are pretty quick at coming back in. You just get a message on your phone saying whether it's positive or negative, and hopefully for everyone's sake it's negative. All done? All done.
All done.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Have a good
You're
day.
welcome.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
See, I do it I take it off and put it on.
Every morning we will get breakfast delivered around 7 o'clock along with the daily newsletter. Now the daily newsletter is pretty much stock standard. Every day they talk about social distancing, COVID tests and that sort of stuff. On the back there's some little brain teasers.
I don't think we've done one of those
No.
brain teasers.
The main thing that is on the newsletter is your outside time. And once you've done your COVID test and it's come back negative on day 3, you are allowed outside time. Every facility is different with how they manage this, but for us, we get given a coloured band which signals which bubble you are in, and then that corresponds to what time you're allowed out each day. Finally made it outside, although the weather is rubbish. That's what you expect when you come to the South Island in winter time. Not used to that, coming from Singapore. It's good to get some fresh air though.
Outdoor time number 2 for you, 3 for me.
It's a beautiful day,
So
beautiful
sunny.
day. Blue skies, sunshine, fresh air.
Airport
Doesn't
behind
get any
us.
better for quarantine. We usually get 1 or 2 1-hour time slots outside each day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. The different facilities have different rules on this, and I know that if you are a smoker, you are allowed extra time outside to go and do your thing. So, when you hear the knock at the door for breakfast in the morning in the newsletter, there's usually a mad scramble to go and find out when our outside time is and what's for breakfast that day.
In terms of what you can do outside, I started off the first day and I tried a little run. It's cold. I'm about to run. I think that was before everyone got the all clear to go out, because from then it's been quite busy. We're like little hamsters walking in a circle, but people have been doing all their own exercise as well. Sometimes we just like to go out there just to get some fresh air and sit in the sun. We've been pretty lucky with the weather. So really make use of your outdoor time. We found that it breaks the day up quite a lot. But yeah, it's something we look forward to every day.
Our facilities outside time isn't amazing. It's just a sort of strip of footpath with a little bit of the hotel's sort of seating area. So it's not amazing, but over the last 2 weeks we've learnt to just go with it. And as Ash said, we're all just like hamsters, just going around in circles for our walking time. But we can usually clock up in that time around 4Ks of walking, which is quite good, gets the legs going, and you definitely want to make the most of that time. Now, on to the most important one. You heard me mention breakfast before. Food. I'm sure Ash can explain how amazing this is.
I've been following the Facebook groups. If you're not familiar with quarantine, there's a few Facebook groups that you can add yourself to when you're looking or planning on going, which gives you a bit of insight into the hotels. Now, we were a little bit apprehensive because I've heard some horror stories about the food in quarantine hotels, but Novotel, honestly, we've had some of the best food. The home-cooked meals that we've had here have been incredible. They have catered to any dietary requirements. We found after about day 4, we probably didn't need as much bread or pastries to keep us going, so we decided to eliminate that. But breakfast is pretty standard each morning. You got your yogurt, your cereal, a juice, and a piece of fruit. And then lunch and dinners are more your home-cooked meals, always accompanied with a snack or dessert as well. So we were very pleased with the food here at Novotel. I can't imagine there'd be many complaints.
No, so every day at 7 a.m. breakfast comes around, 12:30 lunch comes around, and around 6:30 dinner comes around. And we're always scrambling to the door. On arrival, back on day 1, you were given a breakdown of the food for the 2 weeks that you're here, so we knew what was coming, and I guess that's so you can suggest any changes or if there's something that you can't eat. But we had no complaints seeing that, so it's been a joy every time that door knocks and we've got our food for the day. So I'm just doing some editing here, and I've just received the text from my second COVID test saying the result was negative, which is good.
We just got lunch.
Just got that here, and we just got lunch.
Just gonna go.
Let's go have a look. Excuse the rubbish.
So much rubbish. I think it's fish and chips today.
Oh, yum!
Salad. We've got a cookie. Big cookie. Banana. I can definitely smell the fish. Salad. And fish and chips. If the food isn't to people's likings, there are options. They give you the room service menu for the hotel directly, but you've also got access to the Countdown New Zealand app as well that we've made use of with a few little beers and wines at night, but a few little extra snacks to keep us going. So there is options for you if you do not warm to the food here.
What has been your favourite meal so far?
Oh, I would have to say probably the lamb roast would probably be my top one.
That was the Sunday roast.
Sunday roast, yeah.
For me, we had pork ribs for lunch the other day, and that was amazing. Yeah. That was just delicious. Ribs for lunch in quarantine. Whoa. Look at that.
The food's been so good.
Wow. That is amazing. You don't expect to get pork ribs when you're in a managed isolation facility, but we did. So as you can see, we haven't murdered each other yet, so it hasn't been too bad for the last 2 weeks. Some tips from us would be to make sure that you stay in a routine of sorts because it keeps the days going. We've got up at 7 AM every morning over the last 2 weeks, mainly so that I can watch the soccer on TV, but that's developed our routine, so we've built around that, which has been good.
As long as he bought me my coffee, that was fine.
Coffee in the morning. Secondly, remember that this is a privilege that we are allowed to come into New Zealand and do this managed isolation. So if you've got that in the back of your mind when things are maybe a little bit tough, it brings back some perspective on what you're actually doing.
Absolutely, and enjoy it. When else do you get 14 days to do absolutely nothing?
That's
so
right.
I hope this video helps those that are looking at potentially returning or visiting New Zealand, but be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see more from us.
All right, that'll do from us. We'll see you next time on A Couple of Kiwis. Yeah, nah, definitely.
Thanks for watching.